Maya Patel had fixed countless machines in her career as a civilian contractor for the Earth Defense Force, but she'd never seen anything like this. The crystalline being suspended in the containment field didn't just glow, it sang. A haunting melody that seemed to resonate with something deep in her chest, even through the supposedly soundproof barriers. The classified research facility on Europa wasn't supposed to have any alien specimens. That's what her briefing had said when she'd been assigned to maintain their environmental systems. Yet here she was, standing in a restricted sublevel she'd only discovered because of a malfunctioning temperature gauge, face to face with what could only be a Lamari, a species believed to be extinct for the past century. The being's crystalline form shifted colors slowly, from deep purple to midnight blue, its faceted surface catching the harsh facility lights. Maya knew she should report this, should turn around and pretend she'd never seen it. But something in the way the creature's song changed when it noticed her, becoming softer, almost questioning, made her pause. "Hello," Maya whispered, knowing it couldn't possibly hear her through the containment field. "I'm Maya." The crystalline form pulsed once, brilliantly, and a voice echoed directly in Maya's mind. "You are different from the others." Maya nearly dropped her diagnostic tablet. "You can speak. I mean, think. To me. I am Thyra. They believe their barriers contain all my abilities. They do not understand that thoughts, like light, can bend around obstacles." The voice carried an undercurrent of weariness and pain that made Maya's heart ache. "They're hurting you," Maya said. It wasn't a question. The containment field crackled with energy that she now realized wasn't just for restraint. "They wish to understand how my kind achieved consciousness in crystalline form. Their methods are persistent." Thyra's colors darkened to a deep indigo. "You should leave, kind one. They will not welcome your presence here." Maya glanced at her tablet, then at the complex machinery maintaining Thyra's prison. As a senior environmental systems specialist, she understood more about the facility's infrastructure than most of the military personnel. Including its weaknesses. "How long have they kept you here?" she asked, already calling up the containment system schematics on her tablet. "Time becomes difficult to measure. Many cycles of your moon's orbit around this frozen world." Maya's fingers flew over her tablet, analyzing the containment field's power requirements. The system was impressive, and incredibly complex. But like all machines, it had its vulnerabilities. The question was whether she had the courage to do anything about them. "I can help you," Maya said, surprising herself with the conviction in her voice. "But it will take time. I'll need to understand exactly how they're holding you, find a way to." "No." Thyra's form flared with crimson light. "They will hurt you. Humans who help my kind do not fare well." "Good thing I've always been terrible at following rules," Maya said, managing a small smile. "Besides, I'm just a mechanic. Nobody pays attention to maintenance staff. Trust me, being underestimated is an advantage." The crystalline being studied her for a long moment, its colors shifting through shades Maya had no names for. "Why would you risk yourself for me?" Maya thought about all the times she'd fixed things others had given up on, all the machines she'd brought back to life when everyone else said they were beyond saving. Because nobody deserves to be treated like a broken machine that needs to be taken apart to be understood. And because sometimes the most important repairs aren't to machines at all. Thyra's form brightened slightly. "You are either very brave or very foolish." "Probably both," Maya admitted. "But first, I need to understand exactly how they're containing you. These energy patterns, they're not just physical restraints, are they?" "No. They resonate with our essence, create discordance that prevents us from achieving harmony with the crystalline matrices that give us form." Thyra's colors swirled with remembered pain. "It is like being trapped in a perpetual state of fracture, never allowed to fully align." Maya nodded, her mind already racing through possibilities. "Resonance. That's why you sing, it's not just communication, it's part of how you exist. She began making notes on her tablet. If they're using destructive interference to contain you, then maybe constructive interference could. A distant door hissed open. Thyra's warning filled Maya's mind, someone comes. I'll be back, Maya promised, quickly gathering her tools. Stay strong. Be careful, Maya Patel. You have shown me kindness. I would not see it repaid with suffering. As Maya hurried away, taking a maintenance shaft back to the authorized areas, her mind was already spinning with plans. She would have to be careful, methodical, and above all patient. But she had always been good at fixing things others thought impossible. And this time, she wasn't just fixing a machine. She was fighting for someone's freedom. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya mastered the art of being invisible. She learned the facility's rhythms. When the research teams changed shifts, which security officers were more likely to question her presence, and most importantly, how to make her frequent visits to the sublevel holding Thyra appear routine. The crystalline being's containment chamber required extensive environmental controls, giving Maya the perfect excuse to perform regular maintenance checks. She installed discrete sensors throughout the system, gathering data on the containment field's resonance patterns while appearing to simply monitor temperature and pressure levels. They're using a quantum harmonic matrix, Maya explained during one of her visits, her voice low as she worked. The field generates frequencies that disrupt your natural crystalline resonance. But every matrix has its weak points, we just have to find them. Thyra's form shimmered with interest. You understand more of our nature than the scientists who study me. They see only what they can measure. That's because they're looking at you like a puzzle to solve. Maya adjusted one of her sensors. I'm trying to understand how to help you heal. Their conversations during these maintenance sessions had become the highlight of Maya's days. Thyra shared stories of her people, their cities of living crystal, their songs that could shape matter itself, and their deep connection to the cosmic resonance that humans called dark energy. In return, Maya spoke of Earth, of human resilience, and of her own journey from a curious child taking apart household appliances to a woman who could coax life back into the most stubborn machines. But today, something was wrong. Thyra's usual melodic thought voice was strained, her crystalline form clouded with patches of dull gray. What have they done to you? Maya demanded, checking her readings. The containment field's power levels were higher than she'd ever seen them. They grow impatient. Their tests become more aggressive. Thyra's colors flickered weakly. They believe if they push harder, they can force my essence to reveal its secrets. Maya's hands clenched around her tablet. They're going to destroy you if they keep this up. We need to move faster. The risk becomes too great. Perhaps it would be better if you... Don't, Maya cut her off. Don't tell me to leave you here. I've almost figured it out. She pulled up the data she'd been gathering, showing Thyra the complex waveform patterns. See these resonance peaks? They're not random. There's a pattern, like a rhythm. Your people's abilities aren't just about energy manipulation, they're about harmony. Thyra's form brightened slightly. Yes. All existence has its song. We simply learned to sing in harmony with it. Then that's how we break you out. Maya's eyes gleamed with excitement. Not by overwhelming the containment field, but by matching its frequency perfectly and then shifting it, like changing the key of a song. Even if possible, such precision would require intimate synchronization. Thyra pulsed with concern. The risk to your mind is worth taking, Maya finished. But you'll have to help me. I can modify the environmental systems to generate the base frequency, but you'll need to guide it, shape it to match your crystalline matrix exactly. Before Thyra could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Maya's tablet lit up with emergency notifications. Warning, containment breach in Research Lab 6. All personnel evacuate immediately. Security teams to assigned positions. Maya's heart raced. Lab 6 was only 2 levels above them. What's happening? Another prisoner. Kyra's thoughts carried a mix of sorrow and fear. They pushed too hard. Lost control. The damage spreads. The facility shuddered. Emergency lights pulsed red, casting strange shadows through Kyra's crystalline form. Maya could hear shouting and running footsteps from the levels above. This could be our chance, Maya said, already pulling up the environmental control systems. Everyone will be focused on the breach. If we're going to do this. No. Kyra's thought was firm. Not now. The facility's security protocols are heightened. The risk will never be lower, Maya insisted. They'll be distracted, the power systems will be fluctuating. Another explosion rocked the facility. The lights flickered, and for a moment, the containment field surrounding Kyra wavered. Maya. Kyra's form pulsed with urgent colors. You must go. Now. What comes, you cannot be here for it. I'm not leaving you. You must. But. Kyra's colors softened. Return tomorrow. Third shift. The resonance patterns you discovered, they are correct. Perhaps it is time to sing a new song. Maya hesitated, torn between staying in the growing chaos above. Finally, she nodded. Tomorrow then. Stay strong. As she hurried through the maintenance corridors, hearing the chaos of the containment breach being brought under control, Maya's mind was already racing through preparations. Tomorrow would change everything, if they survived it. She just hoped she could teach herself to sing in harmony with the universe before then. The aftermath of the containment breach transformed the Europa facility. Security teams patrolled the corridors in groups of 4 instead of pairs. New scanning equipment appeared at checkpoints. And worst of all, Director Harrison Vale had arrived from Earth Command to personally oversee what he called a complete security review. Maya watched him now through the observation window of Kyra's chamber, her hands steady on her diagnostic tablet despite her racing heart. Vale was tall and sharp-featured, his military bearing evident even in civilian clothes. He stood studying Kyra's containment field, hands clasped behind his back. Fascinating, he said to the nervous researcher beside him. And you say it responds to harmonic frequencies? Yes, sir. The crystalline structure appears to resonate with specific energy patterns. We've been attempting to map these responses, but you've made little progress. Vale's voice carried the kind of warmth that didn't reach his eyes. Perhaps we need to be more direct in our approach. Maya's tablet chirped, warning of a power surge building in the containment systems. Kyra's form flickered with anxiety, colors shifting rapidly. Sir, Maya spoke up, making herself sound professionally concerned rather than terrified. These readings suggest the field harmonics are becoming unstable. We should probably let the system stabilize before. Vale turned, seeming to notice her for the first time. You are Maya Patel, sir. Environmental Systems Specialist. I maintain the containment infrastructure. Ah. His smile reminded her of a predator assessing prey. And you have expertise in xenobiology as well? No, sir. Just concerned about system stability. These fields generate a lot of heat when pushed too hard. Wouldn't want another incident like yesterday. Vale studied her for a long moment. Indeed. Very well, power down the test sequence. We'll resume tomorrow. He turned to leave, then paused. Tell me, Specialist Patel, how long have you worked with this specimen? Maya kept her expression neutral. I rotate through all the environmental systems, sir. This chamber's just part of my regular rounds. Of course. Vale nodded. Carry on. Only when the chamber door hissed shut behind him did Maya let out her breath. Kyra's thoughts reached for her immediately. He suspects. Maybe. Maya began checking the containment systems, trying to appear busy in case anyone was watching. But he doesn't know anything for certain. How are you holding up? The resonance patterns grow stronger. Each test brings more pain, but also clarity. Thyra's form shimmered. I begin to understand what you showed me about the harmonics. Maya glanced at the observation window, making sure they were alone. Good, because we're running out of time. Vale's reputation, he gets results by any means necessary. We need to move soon. Tonight. The word hit Maya like an electric shock. Tonight? But we haven't finished mapping the resonance patterns. The calculations are as complete as they will ever be. Thyra's colors deepened to a determined blue. You have shown me the way. The rest must come from harmony. Maya's fingers flew over her tablet, pulling up the data she'd gathered. The night shift starts in 4 hours. Security will be at minimum strength, but after yesterday's breach, they'll be extra alert. The breach created fear. They watch for external threats, not internal ones. True. Maya studied the facility's power distribution network. I can create a cascade of minor system failures, nothing dangerous, just annoying enough to keep security busy. But the timing will have to be perfect. Timing is merely another form of harmony. Thyra's thought carried a touch of amusement. And you, Maya Patel, have taught me much about finding harmony in unexpected places. Maya smiled despite her nerves. First time my talent for fixing things will be used to break something this big. Her smile faded. You know they'll never stop hunting us. Perhaps. But they hunt what they believe us to be, a human traitor and an alien weapon. Thyra's form pulsed with soft light. They do not understand that we are something else entirely. What's that? Proof that there are stronger bonds than chains. Maya checked her chronometer. 3 hours and 45 minutes. I need to get things ready. She started gathering her tools, mind already racing through preparations. The resonance shift will have to be perfect. If we're off by even a fraction. Maya. Thyra's thought was gentle. Do you know why my people valued harmony above all else? Why? Because true harmony cannot be forced or calculated. It must be felt, experienced, shared. The crystalline being's colors shifted to a warm gold. You have spent weeks measuring frequencies and mapping patterns. But in the end, freedom will come not from perfect calculations, but from perfect trust. Maya touched the containment field barrier, feeling its subtle vibration. Then I trust you. Tonight, we sing your chains apart. As she left the chamber, Maya's steps were steady despite the fear fluttering in her chest. In 3 hours and 42 minutes, she would either help free the last known Lamari in existence, or they would both discover exactly how Director Vale dealt with threats to his research. But Thyra was right about one thing, harmony couldn't be forced. It had to be chosen, again and again, even in the face of discord. Maya had made her choice. Now all that remained was to see if the universe would choose to sing along. The facility's night cycle brought an artificial twilight to the corridors, but Maya's hands were steady as she made her final preparations. Her diagnostic tablet had been modified with software that would never have passed security screening. In her toolkit, alongside legitimate repair tools, sat a quantum resonance modulator she'd built from scavenged parts. Environmental systems check initiating, she announced to the bored-looking guard at the security station. Multiple sensors showing irregularities after yesterday's incident. The guard barely glanced at her credentials before waving her through. Maya felt Thyra's familiar mental touch as she approached the containment chamber. They have increased power to the containment field, Thyra warned. Vale's orders. Of course he did. Maya began connecting her modified equipment to the environmental control systems. But more power means more energy to work with. Ready? Yes. Though. I am afraid. Maya paused in her work. Having second thoughts. No. But fear is appropriate, I think. What we attempt has never been done. Then we'll be the first. Maya finished the last connection. Remember, when the field harmonics shift, you'll have only seconds to match the resonance pattern exactly. After that, we trust in harmony. Thyra's form pulsed with determination. Begin. Maya initiated her cascade of system failures. Around the facility, environmental controls began reporting minor malfunctions. Temperature fluctuations in the crew quarters. Pressure inconsistencies in the research labs. Nothing dangerous, but enough to keep security and maintenance teams busy. Phase 1 complete, Maya murmured, watching security teams responding to the various alerts. Beginning harmonic modulation. She activated her modified resonance modulator. The containment field's energy patterns began to shift subtly, changing frequency in ways that the facility's monitoring systems wouldn't detect. Thyra's crystalline form vibrated in response, matching each change perfectly. For several minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then Maya's readings showed what they'd been waiting for, a perfect resonance alignment forming between Thyra's natural frequency and the containment field. Now, Maya whispered. Sing. Thyra's form blazed with light as she released a pure, crystalline note that existed not in air but in the fabric of space itself. The containment field shimmered, its energy patterns spinning into new configurations as Thyra's song rewove them. Warning alarms blared. Maya's fingers flew across her tablet, trying to mask what was happening from the facility's security systems. Keep going. We're almost. Step away from the controls, Specialist Patel. Maya's heart stopped. Director Vale stood in the chamber doorway, flanked by armed security officers. His face showed not anger but something worse, satisfaction. I must admit, your method is innovative, he said, stepping into the chamber. Using harmonic resonance to destabilize the containment field. We hadn't considered that approach. Of course, we had to let your plan progress far enough to observe the effects. You knew. Maya's mind raced. How long had they been watching? We suspected someone was accessing restricted data. Tracking the security breaches led us to you. Vale smiled thinly. Though I must say, I'm disappointed. With your understanding of our containment systems, you could have contributed so much to our research. Maya. Thyra's thought voice was strained but urgent. The resonance pattern. It's still building. Your research. Maya laughed bitterly, buying time as she felt the growing vibration through the floor. You're not conducting research. You're torturing a sentient being because you're too afraid to simply talk to her. Vale's smile vanished. The Lumari are the key to controlling dark energy itself. Their potential as weapons is nothing compared to their potential as teachers. Maya's voice rose as she felt Thyra's song growing stronger. They learn to sing with the universe, to work in harmony with forces we barely understand. But all you can think about is how to turn that harmony into discord. Enough. Vale gestured to his guards. Take her to detention. We'll deal with this security breach properly. Maya. Thyra's warning came just as Maya's tablet showed the resonance levels reaching critical. The pattern. I cannot hold it much longer. Then don't, Maya whispered. Let it go. All of it. Thyra's song changed, becoming something vast and wild and beautiful. The containment field's carefully regulated harmonics shattered as new patterns emerged, not the controlled frequencies of the facility's technology, but the chaotic, fractal rhythms of the cosmos itself. Stop her. Vale shouted, but it was too late. The chamber filled with crystalline light as Thyra's true voice rang out, not just in their minds but in the quantum fabric of reality. Maya felt the song calling to something deep within her own atoms, inviting them to dance to a different rhythm. She took one step back, then another, as Kthira's crystalline form began to pulse with impossible colors. The guards raised their weapons, but their hands shook as the song reached into them too, awakening memories of stellar nurseries and ancient starlight encoded in their very cells. Beautiful, Maya whispered as reality itself began to bend around them. It's so beautiful. The last thing she saw before the light became blinding was Vale's face, transformed from satisfaction to terror as he finally understood what they had unleashed. Not a weapon, but a symphony. And the universe itself had joined the chorus. Maya awoke to the sound of singing. Not the desperate harmonics of Kthira's containment chamber, but a gentle crystalline chime that seemed to resonate with the starlight itself. She opened her eyes to find herself floating in what appeared to be a bubble of iridescent crystal, suspended in space with Europa's icy surface far below. "I'm not dead," she said, surprised to find she could breathe normally. "Unless the afterlife looks a lot like Jupiter's orbit. You are very much alive." Kthira's mental voice was stronger than Maya had ever heard it, rich with joy and freedom. "Though I believe your colleagues down there think otherwise." Maya turned to see Kthira hovering beside her, the crystalline being's form now far larger and more complex than it had been in captivity. Fractal patterns shifted through her structure, each facet containing what looked like entire galaxies in miniature. "You're beautiful," Maya breathed. "This is your true form." "One of them. We Lumari exist in many harmonies simultaneously." Kthira's colors rippled with amusement. "Much like your quantum physicist's cat, though I never found that joke particularly funny." Maya laughed, then sobered as she looked down at the facility. "What happened?" "The last thing I remember. When the containment field collapsed, I had to act quickly. I shifted us both into quantum resonance, what your people might call a higher dimensional state. To the observers below, we appeared to vanish in a burst of light. Vale. Alive, though his worldview is somewhat shattered. It turns out watching someone rewrite local spacetime is rather perspective-altering." Maya reached out to touch the crystal surrounding her, feeling its subtle vibration. "This is how your people travel between stars, isn't it? Not with ships, but by singing yourselves into harmony with space itself." "Yes. Though, singing is your word for it. We simply are what we are." Kthira's form shifted closer. "Which makes what you did even more remarkable." "What do you mean?" "Maya, no human has ever managed to truly understand our resonance patterns before. They studied, measured, tried to force comprehension. But you." Kthira's colors softened. "You listened. You felt. You understood that harmony cannot be conquered, only joined." Below them, ships were launching from the facility, probably search parties, though they were looking in entirely the wrong dimensional space. Maya watched them with a mix of pity and amusement. "They'll never stop trying to understand your people's powers," she said quietly. "Perhaps. But thanks to you, they may eventually understand that power is not what they should seek." Kthira's form pulsed with gentle light. "Which brings me to an offering." "An offering? You cannot return to your old life. They will hunt you now, knowing you understand too much." Kthira's mental voice carried both sadness and hope. "But there are other possibilities." The crystal surrounding Maya shimmered, and suddenly she could feel it, not just the vibration, but the song itself. The infinite cosmic dance of particles, the grand symphony of gravity and light, the thousand harmonies that humans had labeled dark energy but never truly understood. "You're offering to teach me," Maya whispered, awestruck by the complexity and beauty of what she was experiencing. "I offer to show you what you already began to understand. There are other Lumari, hidden in places humans cannot yet perceive. And perhaps..." Kthira's form sparkled with joy. "Perhaps it is time for a new harmony to emerge. One born of both crystal and stardust, of both song and science. Maya looked down at her hands, noticing for the first time that her skin held a subtle iridescence, as if the crystal's light had somehow become part of her. I'm changing, aren't I? You began changing the moment you chose to hear the song beneath the chains. The question is, do you wish to learn the full symphony? In the space around them, Maya could now see what humans had never understood about the Lumari. They weren't just crystalline beings who could manipulate energy. They were living expressions of the universe's fundamental harmonies, conscious manifestations of the songs that had been singing since the first stars ignited. And somehow, impossibly, wonderfully, she was beginning to hear those songs too. Will I still be human? She asked, though she already knew the answer didn't matter as much as she once might have thought. You will be what you choose to be. That is the greatest harmony of all, the freedom to choose one's own song. Maya looked out at the star-strewn expanse, feeling the infinite possibilities resonating within and around her. She thought of all the broken things she'd fixed in her life, all the discordant systems she'd brought back into harmony. Perhaps this was just a grander version of the same calling. Teach me, she said. Teach me to sing with the stars. Kyra's joy illuminated space itself as she began to show Maya how to weave her own harmony into the eternal song. Above them, Jupiter hung like a great brass bell in the cosmic symphony. Below, Europa's ice fields rang with crystal notes no human ear had ever heard. And in between, two beings who had shattered all expectations about what was possible began to sing a new kind of music into existence. Not a song of chains or freedom, not of human or alien, but of harmony freely chosen and freely shared. The universe, as always, sang along.